Joining us now is perhaps one of the most important men, at least he will be, in this ongoing process. You know, Governor Mike Huckabee. He served Arkansas in that role for 11 years. He has been named or nominated the U.S. Ambassador to Israel by Donald Trump. Worked in the media for 17 years, not going to hold that against him. And he joins us from Little Rock, Arkansas. I like to say, I'm glad you're in the kitchen, like, you know, and I hope you're whipping up something good for us. When you were nominated, I actually said to President Trump personally, that was an excellent nomination. And there were some that I didn't think were excellent, but you have been involved, and I hope people remember this, for decades trying to help the Jewish people and the Arab people in that part of the world, correct?
Bill, I've been going to Israel since 1973. This year will mark 52 years of being in Israel, dozens and dozens of times to the point I've lost count. So I've been immersed in what's going on in the Middle East and specifically Israel. It's a place I love. I've come to appreciate the extraordinary things that this startup nation has been able to do. And there's really nothing that President Trump would have asked me to do that I would have had any affinity for. But this was the one thing that I could not say no to because it's almost like a lifetime of preparation to do it.
What sparked your interest in Israel?
When I originally went, I was only 17. I was a month shy of my 18th birthday. It was 3 months before the Yom Kippur War, although none of us knew that. And I was there with a friend of mine on a senior trip. And, you know, looking back, it was insane that the two of us went all over the Middle East. We went to Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, throughout the Middle East. But we went to Israel as part of it. Now, Israel in 1973 was a sleepy little country. It had barely gotten through wars in 48, 56, and 67. Had success in those wars, shouldn't have, but it did. But its economy was struggling. It was barren in terms of, it was dusty, hilly, rocky, didn't have a lot of vegetation. What I have seen over my own trips there over 52 years, I've seen the desert bloom and I've seen the dry bones come to life. It's an amazing entrepreneurial, innovative country that has exported much technology to the rest of the world, including the United States, not only in just raw technology, but in medical care and in agriculture. But all of that aside, it's a space where this tiny little sliver of land, the size of New Jersey, is the most contested piece of real estate on the planet. And it makes it a fascinating part of the world.
Do you have an empathy because you're a Christian, and the evangelical Christian movement has an empathy with the Jewish people in Israel. Is that part of this equation?
Well, it's a personal part. I mean, certainly the role of an ambassador is not to go as a religious or spiritual guide, but it certainly is a part of who I am. And it gives me some parameters of understanding the bigger picture of it, that Israel has been in this land for 3,500 years, that Jerusalem is the indigenous, forever and unique capital for the Jewish people. I had a Jewish friend from New York ask me one time, we were in Israel together, and he said, why is it that evangelical Christians are so supportive of the Jewish people and of Israel? And I said, it's quite frankly pretty easy. I said, you can be Jewish and have nothing whatsoever to do with Christians, but I can't be a Christian and not have everything to do with the Jewish people, the Jewish faith, the scriptures. Everything I believe is built on the foundation of that. So for me, and most evangelicals would say the same thing, we're people of the book. It's simple. So if you read in Genesis that God blesses those who bless Israel and curse those who curse Israel, this gets pretty easy.
Okay. Now, when you get over, and you'll be confirmed easily in the Senate, when you get over there, your job is not to make policy. I'm sure that President Trump will consult with you, but your job is exactly what? How do you see it?
It is to carry out the policy of the president. As I shared with the president, there's only one person who got elected November the 5th, and his name was Donald J. Trump. So he gets to set the table and pick the menu. Those of us who serve as an ambassador to any country, we don't go with our own agenda. We don't get to go and say, here's what I'm going to do. We find out what the president's policy is, and we carry that to the country where we've been assigned to represent. So, will I get a chance to visit with President Trump about that policy? Of course. But it ultimately is his decision what that policy is going to be.
Now, that could put you up against Netanyahu and the Israeli government, because we're not simpatico 100% with Israel. Are you ready to stare down Bibi if you have to?
Well, it's not so much that I would stare him down. It's more that I would represent the United States.
But he's not going to like that. You're going to get yelled at.
Oh, that's okay.
Right.
I was governor 11 years. I got yelled at a lot. So this will not be something new for me. I will feel right at home.
Do you anticipate an improvement over there? Because you're walking into the most difficult ambassador job, with the possible exception of Moscow, on the planet. Beijing is testy too, but you're walking into bullets are flying. All right, and
Yeah.
You are going to be in jeopardy yourself. You're going to have to watch it. You know that. But what is your? Are you optimistic? Are you in the middle or pessimistic? How are you going in over there?
I'm very optimistic, but I'm also very realistic, Bill. I don't have any illusions that there's going to be some two-state solution where you have some people who hate Israel, who want to see it totally annihilated, who are going to move next door, set up a shadow government, and everything's going to be just lovely. That's not going to happen. What I do anticipate is that there is a greater movement going on within the overall Gulf states and in the Middle East. When historically, really, I guess, adversarial nations to Israel, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, a host of the nations, Bahrain, they're now realizing Israel is no threat to them. They don't need to fear Israel, and they don't need to hate Israel. They get nothing for that, nothing. They get more when they share intelligence, tourism, trade. They all benefit.
But you're thinking logically, and when you deal with Hamas and the other terrorists in Iran, they don't think logically. They hate you. They want to kill you.
You can't deal with them.
And you're not going to change their minds, by the way.
No.
They're always going to hate and want to kill you. So that's the reality of the situation. And this is the final question for you. Some Americans say, look, it's no matter what you do or what we do as a country, this is never going to get better because there aren't two states. The Gaza and Hamas, that's not a state. There's nobody running the show there. It's you do what I say or we'll kill you. It's not like they have a representative government. So you can't have a two-state solution when you only have one state. That's Israel. Last word.
That's exactly what we have to change in a policy. Both Republican and Democrat presidents have pretended that this two-state solution makes sense. It simply doesn't, especially when one of the states believes that its sole purpose of being on earth is to murder every last Jew. So the reason that Israel has to get rid of Hamas, it can't simply ameliorate the danger, it has to eliminate the danger, is because Hamas is not a government. It doesn't have soldiers with uniforms. It is a group of terrorists, criminals, and savages. You do not deal with them in the way that you would deal with a legitimate government. Donald Trump understands that. And it's why I think there's going to be a different way. The same reason that the Abraham Accords were able to be done in Trump's first term, and that when Biden came in, basically nothing moved beyond that. Donald Trump has an opportunity to do something historic, and I believe he will.
All right, Governor, and you're right by his side, and we really appreciate know how busy you are with all of this, and hopefully I will see you in Jerusalem. All right, stay
We
safe
probably
now.
say next year in Jerusalem, maybe even this year in Jerusalem.
I hope so. I'm going to get over there as soon as I can. But stay safe, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Last year, investors scored the highest profits in decades. Unfortunately, the rest of us were held back by stacks of bills and credit card debt. Well, Done with Debt has found a solution. They created a brilliant new strategy designed to tackle debt, put cash back into your hands, so you can finally save, invest, and live your life in comfort. Done with Debt goes head to head with credit card and loan companies. Their team of negotiators and legal experts work to significantly reduce your bills, eliminate interest, and erase penalties. Bottom line, Done with Debt helps turn crushing debt into financial freedom. But some of their strategies are time sensitive, so please don't wait. Get the life you deserve. Visit donewithdebt.com. Talk with one of their strategists absolutely free. Visit donewithdebt.com, donewithdebt.com. All right, let's bring in our pal, Adam Carolla. Unfortunately, Mr. Carolla's home is undefined at this point because he was evacuated, had to evacuate, and he doesn't know, right? Am I right now, or did you get new info? You don't know what the status of your home is, right?
I got new info recently that it's intact. I'm in Malibu, sort of right in the middle of Malibu, and everything in front of it and behind it is destroyed. But miraculously, the fire went over my dwelling and out onto PCH and then destroyed everything in front of me.
Wow. Well, I'm glad that you are, your house is safe, but you can't live there for a long time. You can't go back to that house. You know that, right?
Yeah, there's no electricity at this point, and we don't know about smoke damage and other forms of damage and just sort of infrastructure. And then soon as the rains hit, the mudslides are going to start. And when the mudslides start, they're going to block off Pacific Coast Highway and then the canyons that lead there. And there's no other way to get there other than Pacific Coast Highway and a canyon or two. So
and then you're going to have the pollution too of the fires and the air quality, and it's just going to be on and on. I estimate, number one, that Los Angeles County will not recover for 5 years. It's going to have long, it's going to take them to recover this. You might be able to get back into your house this year, but it's going to be dicey. Now, you've lived out there for your whole life. I think you're 87 years old now, right? Or is it?
That's right. I'm 2 years younger than you.
Right. You're 60. You've lived out there your whole life. You live in Malibu, which is a high-risk neighborhood. Have you ever seen the state take preventive measures around your house to mitigate a possible fire?
The state is not good at nuts and bolts things. It's good at, feel-good stuff like the West Hollywood patrol cars have the gay flag on the side of them, which is important. So we do stuff like that. We do a lot of things that are sort of window dressing, but we don't do nuts and bolts legislation. And no, if there's a mudslide on Pacific Coast Highway, it takes 6 months to clean up a pile of dirt the size of a minivan. So everything is slow. And let's not forget that a lot of the problem with the fires, I mean, you've spoken a lot and played clips of Trump talking about cleaning up the bed and the floor of the forest and preventative measures, aqueducts, things like that. I've spoke to firemen in Malibu, and they say most of the fires they put out are caused by the homeless. As a matter of fact, they said basically all the fires we put out are caused by the homeless who camp up in the hills, get high, pass out, smoking crack, fire ensues. That's number one. Number two, PCH, Pacific Coast Highway, is festooned with 100-year-old power poles made of rotted wood that all immediately fall over in a high wind or in a fire, and then live power lines are all over the street and they inhibit the firefighting. Obviously, they're a danger. You're spraying water. You have live lines buzzing around. So we don't even bury the power lines. We've been trying to bury the power lines for years, and there's no movement on it. And a lot of the fires are caused by this.
Yeah, the squirrels might get upset. And I'm
Yes.
being sarcastic, but isn't that the crux of the matter? That there's always a reason not to protect the citizens? There's always some kind of woke reason? Isn't that the truth?
No, we have the Coastal Commission. The Coastal Commission is unelected, 8 or 10 sort of hippie lesbians who are angry at their dads and hate everyone who lives in Malibu and along the coast in Orange County. And they just make proclamations. And we try to get a water desalination plant going, or we try to develop the wetlands or whatever it is. And they just say, no, go literally pound sand. So we have these little groups of angry, mostly women, mostly young, and they're super woke and they're super progressive, and they don't even live along the coast because they can't afford it, and they're angry at anyone who makes a good living, and they have ultimate power, and that's the way we roll here in California.
What about Newsom, though? I mean, he's a pretty powerful governor, and I want to be fair to Newsom. Has he done anything in his entire tenure in Sacramento to protect the citizens of California from these national disasters? Give me anything.
I've never heard him pull up to a microphone and say anything that would be considered pragmatic. He talks about, the LGBT community constantly, and he talks about everybody having a voice and a seat at the table, and nobody's illegal, and we're starting, we're going to be a sanctuary state. Basically, here's where Newsom goes south. And here's where all the progressive Democrats go south. Here's where it all falls apart for them. They fight Trump on everything that Trump says. So if Trump says, let's beef up the border, they go, we're not beefing up the border. They go, build a wall. They go, tear down the wall. They go, clean up the forest. He goes, we're not cleaning up the forest. He goes, fill the aqueduct. We're not filling the aqueduct. They are so stupid and knee-jerk that if he said the sky's blue, they'd say the sky's red. Well, it is now in California, but it's on fire. They've screwed themselves by literally doing the opposite of everything Trump has suggested. Now, you can disagree with Trump, but much of his policy is pragmatic. And you just disagreeing with pragmatic stuff to disagree is going to end up biting you in the ass, and that's what happened to Newsom.
Final question. Nobody knows Karen Bass, who's the mayor of Los Angeles City. Is she as bad as people are portraying her?
She's a longtime progressive LA Democrat politician, so she's horrible just from that pedigree. She also spent a lot of time in her youth going back and forth to Cuba and was involved with some group that sort of loved Fidel. So she's got that, progressive left-wing bona fides thing going, which means she's not going to do anything. She's going to hang around. I mean, she was in Ghana taking a trip when all this went down. Yeah, she's horrible. We could get someone like Rick Caruso in there, someone who builds things, someone who's pragmatic, someone who knows how to manage people and funds. But LA is way too progressive for that. Hopefully we're coming down to earth now. I don't know who she is. I don't know what she stands for. I'm sure she's horrible. And if you look around, LA has more homeless, is filthy. LA is filthy, by the way. There's garbage and graffiti everywhere.
Look, I wrote a column of it.
Everywhere. She can't
2 weeks
clean
ago.
up.
2 weeks ago, I was in Westwood, right adjacent to UCLA, at the hotel there. Okay, the W Hotel. Shocking. The hotel was nice. But Westwood itself used to be one of the premier neighborhoods in Los Angeles. Shocking. Anyway,
there's garbage and homeless everywhere, so she can't run a city.
How can people watch you, Carolla, on your podcast?
They just go to AdamCarolla.com, and it's all free, and I'm there every day.
All right. Well, look, if you need anything from us, let us know. And that's not an empty thing to say, Carolla. I've known you a long while. You need anything, you let me know, and we'll make it happen. Okay?
Thanks, Bill.
I appreciate it. Okay. Many of us are trying to get our finances in order to start the new year right. And that's great news for homeowners. Interest rates have dropped and are now in the fives. So if you've been burned with high interest rate credit card debt, it's time to break free. American Financing can help you access the cash in your home to pay off your high interest debt. Last year, their salary-based mortgage consultants helped customers save an average of $800 a month. That's like giving yourself a $10,000 raise. What a way to start the new year. And if you begin today, you may be able to delay 2 mortgage payments. So please call American Financing today, 800-906-2440. That's 800-906-2440. AmericanFinancing.net. President Trump's victory is a win for America. That's what most voters think. But Bidenomics has left us with a failing economy. I rely on American Hartford Gold to protect my savings with physical gold and silver, and you should consider that. American Hartford Gold has thousands of 5-star ratings and an A+ from the Better Business Bureau. A tax-advantaged gold IRA can shield you from worsening inflation. You can even roll over your 401k or IRA tax-free and penalty-free. So act now before it's too late. Call or text American Hartford Gold. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you for up to $15,000 of free silver on qualifying orders. Call 866-501-5201 or text BILL to 65532. That's 866-501-5201 or text BILL to 65532. Washington Post has lost 87% of its online readership, okay, during the 4 years Joe Biden's been president. This is according to Semaphore, which is an online news service. 87% people who consume the Washington Post online, gone. So Jeff Bezos, who owns the paper, has got to sell it. I'm predicting he'll sell it. Why does he need this? Bezos, by the way, is partying with Trump on Monday, on Inauguration Day. This is Zuckerberg is having an after party. I'm going to do this tomorrow. All right, I'm going to lay it all out. It's so. Does anybody buy? Okay, Trump himself enjoys it, but knows what this is. Smart Life. This is from Yahoo Finance. It asks Americans about saving money. Fascinating. Here are the questions. How satisfied are you with the amount of money you currently have saved? Satisfied, 22%. Dissatisfied, 35%. Only 22%. I guess the rest don't even know what they have, because that's not close to 100%. Compare it 2023 and 24. Have you been able to save more money? 22%. Save less money? 48%. Save about the same 30%. And that's because the high prices under Biden. So they can't save. What do you consider to be the biggest challenge to saving money? Cost of living, 47%. Biggest challenge. Now, 4 years ago, when Donald Trump left office, there was big controversy over January 6th, all that. But he walked out of the White House with a 1.4% inflation rating. Prices were a lot less for almost everything than they are now. So this is simple. Here are some Smart Life tips to save money. Number one, even if you don't have a great salary, you have to save 10% of your take-home pay every week. You have to. My father told me that when I was shoveling snow and cutting lawns when I was 12, 13 years old. I always remembered that, and I always did it. You save 10% every week, it's going to grow. It's going to grow substantially. Number two, money jar in your home. You'll be surprised. when you come home, you got change in your pocket, whatever it is, throw it in the money jar. Okay? Once in a while, throw a 5 in, throw a 10 in, whatever it may be. You would be surprised how fast that mounts up. Number 3, analyze your 3 biggest expenses. So you can't do anything about your mortgage unless you want to refinance it, which is dicey and probably not worth it right now until interest rates get cut more. But the 3 biggest things that you have outside of your mortgage rent, all right, where's the money going? So I got a pretty big energy bill, and I said, look at this. And the energy company makes fun of you now. So your home uses 85% more energy than the average home. Okay. So I said, what can I do? So what I did was, because it's been cold January here, I put towels around all the windowsills because that's where you could feel the drafts coming in. So you had to jack up the heat. So I got towels on all. Now, I can afford to pay any utility bill that comes in, but I'm not dumb. All right? And I do respect saving of money because when you have money, you have a little bit of power. I get letters every single day of my life from concierge members on BillO'Reilly.com. Remember, if you're a concierge member, get direct email to me. And if you have a problem, we're going to help you with it. But I would say fully 30% of the letters go, I don't have enough money for a lawyer. I don't have enough money for a repair. I don't have enough money for a new car, and my car doesn't run. If you don't have enough money, you are powerless in this society. Okay? The government is not going to help you. Even the people on welfare, they just get by. If you're lucky enough to inherit money, okay. But most people aren't. And other people aren't going to give you money. I get letters, do you think you can find me a pro bono lawyer? No. No. Because everybody has got bills. Everybody has to generate income. And if you don't have any money, then you are at the low end and you are absolutely susceptible to every villain that comes along. They can pummel you and you can't do anything about it because you can't afford a lawyer. You got to save. And then when you get older and you don't work anymore, you got to have enough money to live. If you think the government's going to help you, they're not. And tied up, a bureaucratic mistake takes years to unravel something like that. Smart life. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. To watch the full episode anytime on BillO'Reilly.com, please sign up to become a premium or concierge member. Visit BillO'Reilly.com to sign up and start watching today.